Hey guys, welcome back to GreyWolf TV, and we are on the season finale of American Horror Story Asylum. This is episode 13. So after the last episode, which was something I wasn't really expecting, we've kind of moved on with the storyline and the time that it's set in. It's now 1968. Grace is dead. Kit's wife's dead. I can still never remember her name. The Monsignor is now a cardinal who has just forgotten about the place, moved on, and the church has left it to the state. It is now a cesspit. Sister Jude is still there, seeing all sorts of crazy things, saying all sorts of crazy things. And Kit has tried to appeal to Lana in her newfound fame as no longer a reporter, but more of someone who's writing books and getting signed by movie companies now to try and get Sister Jude out. She's not interested, so it may be down to Kit. Meanwhile, if we skip forward, Bloody Face number 2, his son, is trying to track down his mum. So let's see where all of this madness ends, which is what they've actually called the final episode. Let's go. This is episode 13.
I was in the third week of my confinement, and a storm was coming. The nor'easter of '64 that brought so much devastation with it. Oliver Thredson was, to all appearances, a kindly figure. Underneath lurked the real Oliver Thredson, an unspeakable monster.
I loved you even when you were still in your mother's womb.
Say bloody face.
Bloody face. What's wrong?
We won't be teasing around in a minute.
Speaking of which...
No, I want to know what's in there.
Am I not the luckiest woman alive?
Appears that way.
Higher, babe. Attaboy.
I'd like to go back and start with the early years. The awful Bloody Face saga.
I said I wouldn't talk about that.
People want to hear about it.
They've already read about it.
My point exactly. Who used murder and torture to keep himself from feeling like a eunuch.
It's what sells books and movies.
I refused to give him one more second of airtime.
You had an abrupt career change.
I knew television was the future. So I got started in local news. But you need more than that. You need an angle, a hook. I heard from very reliable sources that Sister Jude, the nun that imprisoned me at Briarcliff, was still alive. At Briarcliff Manor...
Is this being staged, or is this actually what it looks like now?
Without supervision...
I'm confused.
Without stimulation, for hours on end.
The church sold Briarcliff Manor to the state of Massachusetts in the fall of 1965. Since then, conditions have deteriorated. These images and sounds are far more powerful than any words that can be spoken.
Do you have permission to do this?
You were the first attendant we've seen the entire time we've been here.
That is her.
You were committed to Briarcliff to cover up the abuses the church and science had perpetrated against patients here. You were left to die, alone, abandoned. I've come back to help you.
Bit like...
Powerful scene you describe. I'm embarrassed to say I don't remember it.
That's because it never happened. By the time I got to Briarcliff, Jude was gone. I should have gone back sooner. Thanks. You're a doll.
My pleasure, Miss Winters.
He said he was going to get close.
Lana. I was just watching the news. You did it. You really did it. You shut down Briarcliff.
I'll talk to you, Lana, but I'm not going to talk to your camera.
Yeah, don't blame me.
Betty Drake. Released to the care of Kit Walker, March 27th, 1970. That was just a few months after you came to see me at the book signing.
Really?
It's Jude, isn't it?
After Alma died, I started visiting her there.
Alma, right. I would have gone back for her.
I needed to be there for them.
I'm growing up fast.
And the only way I could leave Briarcliff behind once and for all was to find some way to forgive. The first thing we had to do was see her through a detox.
Yeah.
No matter how much she barked at them, they always understood something about it.
So she eventually came around.
Well, it got worse before it got better.
No, you come back here, you little shit!
Hey!
I'll take you!
Hey!
I'll take you!
Hey! This is not Briarcliff, and you will not hit my kids!
You will address me as Sister Jude. You don't fool me, Walker. I know who you are. I know what you did. Killer of women. I know you get away. Get away.
Oh, Christ. This is so sad. Just all up here is all crossed.
I still don't know what happened in those woods. When they came back, something was different. Grace was right. Those children are special.
Okay.
Okay, now, we'll start again. Watch me. You're left, I'm right.
What is with these kids?
Now spin me.
For 6 months, she taught him how to swing dance and swear like a sailor. Those last 6 months made up for a lifetime of horrors. But she sure seemed happy.
Don't you ever let a man tell you who you are. I'll make you feel. Get Walker. You're a lucky man. You better not screw them up. She's here for me.
She's back. I need to take her.
Talking about.
I do.
I do.
We've been doing this dance for so many years. Are you sure you're ready this time?
I'm sure. Ready now.
I like how they've done that and pulled the bed towards the camera. That's good. Just her time now.
Your next expose was, to put it mildly, controversial.
I think half of New York wanted to lynch me on his way to Easter Mass. Cardinal Howard.
I've nothing to say to you, Miss Winters.
With or without your comments, I'm airing a report tomorrow night on Dr. Arthur Arden. We found some very disturbing evidence. The police have found remains, human bones, in the woods outside Briarcliff. They're going to start asking hard questions.
Happy Easter!
Answer the question!
I've got broad shoulders, but I can't take credit for what his guilty conscience made him do.
Oh. He ended? Yes, he did.
That man was a particular kind of liar.
Is there something you'd like to share with us?
I'm going to come clean about a lie I've told for over 40 years.
Here we go.
In my book, Maniac, I say that the baby died in childbirth. I even wrote about a kind of poetic justice that the child hadn't lived.
So she's gonna come out with this?
That child is alive.
She has?
I didn't raise him, but
That's quite a secret, Lana.
the only person I've told is Marion.
Do you mind if I ask, has there been any contact since?
There was a period in the mid-70s where I suffered a terrible remorse about giving him up. I wasn't his mother. Not in any meaningful way.
He's listening
I would
to
only
all
confuse him.
of this.
But I thought about him so often. Wondering where he was, how he turned out. They grew up with that message, and they lived up to it. Thomas is a law professor at Harvard, and Julia is a leading neurosurgeon at Johns Hopkins.
Jesus.
Kit would be so proud of them.
He's gone.
Is he no longer with us?
When he was around 40, he developed pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
The kids both offered to look after him, but he wouldn't hear of it.
That's a crappy short life for him.
In those last months, he seemed more peaceful than I'd ever seen him.
Did they give it him? Oh my god. Oh, they're here.
No note, no tracks, no clues, and no funeral. Kit's children insisted there was no reason to mourn.
Fantastic, unexpected, and very moving. We'll see you at the Kennedy Center.
Why don't you come out now?
You know?
Tried. Not anymore. Let's get this over with, shall we? I always knew this day would come. You look like him, you know? Your father. It's easy for me to forget just how handsome he was.
And I dreamed one day that you'd come back. Then I heard the tape and I knew you never would.
He never loved you, John.
And you did?
No,
That's just out of context on a tape.
I couldn't. That's why I gave you up, so you'd have some shot at a life.
So you'd have a chance at a life, you mean? Right? Expecting life!
I wasn't expecting that.
No, I wasn't. That's awfully
My father
quick.
once told me he didn't believe in guns. Of course, he was lying about that, too.
I can't measure up.
Oh, Johnny. He was a monster.
No.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was, baby. It's not just him that's in you. I'm a part of you, too. It's not your fault, baby.
Yeah.
It's mine.
Lange. That's what I was actually just about to mention, but the scene beat me to it when she picked the gun up.
A girl like you like to dream large. I'm saying it's dangerous.
What about you? I'd love to hear your story someday.
No. I don't think you and I are destined to meet again. But I do hope you know what you're in for.
You don't have any idea what I'm capable of.
Well then. Look at you, Miss Lana Banana. If you look in the face of evil, evil's gonna look right back at you.
Okay, that was the season finale of Asylum, episode 13. Not what I expected. I'm perfectly okay with it. It was given enough of a resolute, enough of a closing statement, and enough of an end of a chapter, in effect. So, I particularly like, I didn't say anything, I left it to say it now because it was right at the end. I like the final closing scene where it goes right back to 1964 with Lana meeting Sister Jude. And that one sentence that she says to her, what I'm going to take from that, if you look evil directly in the face, it's going to look back at you. In effect, it did. Because once she got in there and came face to face with Fredson, I think it did look back at her. Because we have now seen in this last episode, right from the point all the way up to today, what she was prepared to do to be able to overcome and progress her life, change things, get what she wants at all costs, no matter how ruthless, no matter who needed to be sacrificed, just did it in a different way. She left Sister Jude to rot. She left all of them to rot, to be honest, and made her fame and glory all on what happened to her in there, and in particular, Fredson and Bloodyface, and then has the audacity in front of another reporter just exactly where you were 50 years ago, having the cheek to try and say, I don't want to talk about him, he's had enough limelight. weren't for him, people wouldn't know who you are, and none of this would have happened. So, the thing with Kit, was that his sacrifice, as far as the aliens are concerned, in them being interested in him and him giving those 2 children to the pair of them, to both wives, and him ending up with them even though both of them died in what different circumstances. One of them died at the hand of the other, and his original wife died in Briarcliff. Was that like a deal where you get these kids are special, but your sacrifice is a short life and we will come back for you? I don't know, you could see it that way, and kind of a slow, expected final end for Sister Jude. And that final scene of her saying, we've been dancing around this for years, are you sure you're ready this time? And this time she was. And I did like the way they did the bed scene, where they actually must have pulled it, because it wasn't the focus of the camera that moved, because the wall stayed where it was. They pulled the bed towards it, and then they shot it all in a completely black room with just the bed and some lighting. That was done really well. I like that. There's been a few little, not special effects, just the use of camera work in this at certain points that's just made it stand out. You have to pay attention to see it and notice it. Most people don't. They're just concentrating on the characters or the story, or they're not particularly paying, a lot of people aren't particularly paying attention to how the thing is actually put together and made and constructed, and what the director and the writer are trying to get over to you. But I actually really, really enjoyed that. It was twisted, brutal, gruesome, weird at times, especially with the alien involvement. I never knew what was happening with that and where they were going to go with it. There's certain main cast members that were killed off at points that I didn't expect, especially the Dr. Alston, and Grace, and then eventually Kit, and eventually all of them. And the scene, I was about to mention it when she comes face to face with her son at the end, when he finally just starts to lower the weapon and she's trying to take it off, and I'm like, I have a feeling that she's going to turn it back on him. But it happened before I could say anything. I thought it was going to be it was going to happen in a slower pace than it did, but it didn't. She, again, pretty much didn't hesitate. The minute he got his finger off that trigger, boom, that was it. She was putting an end to bloody face at all costs. The pair of them. So, there we go. End of season 2. Roll on season 3, which we will be back with next week. So if you are a fan of American Horror Story and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go hit that subscribe button and then you won't miss any more episodes. And if you enjoyed the video, guys, by all means give it a thumbs up. Post your comments down below what you thought in particular of this ending. I know everyone will take something different from it, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. So we've done 2 seasons so far, and out of the 2 seasons so far, I actually preferred this one for the storyline more than anything, but we've got plenty more to go. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you for episode 1 of season 3 next. Until then, guys, thanks a lot. I'll see you in the next one.